SWOT analysis. It is a useful tool for the analysis of the overall strategic position of a business and its environment. The acronym SWOT represents strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. The environmental factors internal to the firm can be classified as strengths, S, or weaknesses, W, and those external to the firm can be classified as opportunities, O, or threats, T. Business environment. The word environment talks about the surroundings or conditions in which the specific activities are carried on in an organization. The internal environment of a firm includes communication capabilities, information processing, management capability, performance expectation, reward and task structure, dynamics of the organization's culture, and reputation, which are intangible assets of an organization. The tangible resources of a firm include the human resources, informational resources, financial resources, and physical resources that include land and building, materials, equipment, and machinery, and warehouses. The external environment is the factors outside the organization that affect the makeup of the firm. It is directly interactive and indirectly interactive. The directly interactive environment produces immediate impact on the firm. For example, any new competitor entering the market produces direct impact on the company with its performance. Directly interactive forces are the customers, owners, suppliers, employees, competitors, and employee unions. The management of the organization has responsibility towards each of these groups. Indirectly interactive environment has secondary and more distinct impact on the firm. For example, new legislation put into action will have great impact on the decision-making of the organization. Indirectly interactive forces include socio-cultural, technological, economic and global, political and legal influences. The SWOT analysis gives information that is helpful in matching the capabilities and resources of the firm to the competitive environment in which it operates. It is also helpful in strategy formulation and selection. Successful business organizations are able to build on their strength, rectify their weaknesses, and protect themselves against internal vulnerabilities and external threat. Using SWOT analysis, the business will be able to keep an eye on the overall business environment and exploit new opportunities faster than the competitors. This tool is simple and effective. With its simplicity, all firms use this tool to their advantage, and it requires an analytical frame of mind. Historical development of SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis emerged in the early 1960s parallel with the concept of strategy adopted in the field of business management. The historical development of SWOT analysis is considered to emerge in Harvard Business School, but some other scholars attribute the emergence at Stanford University. Albert S. Humphrey conducted a research project for Stanford Research Institute from 1960 to 1970. A project led by Robert Stewart, funded by the Fortune 500 companies, to find out what went wrong with corporate planning, which also required a new system for managing change. There is yet another claim that SWOT analysis emerged with the work of Philip Selznick, Alfred DuPont Chandler, Kenneth Andrews, Harry Igor Ansoff, and classroom discussions on business policy at Harvard Business School in the 1960s. Henry Mintzberg proposed SWOT analysis as the main instrument of design school model. This model gives primary emphasis towards external and internal situation. Philip Selznick, a Berkeley sociologist, mentioned this concept in his book Leadership in Administration, which was published in 1957, that clarifies the need to bring together the internal state of an organization with its external expectations. He evaluated the relationship between institutional leadership and distinctive competence. According to Selznick, institutional leadership focuses their attention to safeguard the distinctive values of the organization and identity from the internal and external threats. This organizational vision along with the structure defines the distinctive competencies of the firm. Alfred Chandler in 1962 established a business strategy that a long-term coordinated strategy is required to generate a structure and direction for an organization. He analyzed growth processes of four multinational companies and its managerial structure. He identified that environmental variables like resources, technological development, demand and supply, economic fluctuations, and competitive behavior will impact the strategy of an organization. That includes the designing of the objectives, allocation of resources and the choice of market, and also the environmental domain. With the environmental changes there will be developmental opportunities, and an organization should be able to respond appropriately and creatively to generate sustainability. In the mid-60s the Harvard Business School focused the strength and weakness of an organization to match with the opportunities and threat it faced. It developed the framework with competitive thinking based on strategy. Kenneth Andrews of Harvard Business School put forward basic factors of strategy which became well known as the acronym SWOT. His friends C.R. Christensen, E.P. Learned and W.D. Guth conducted studies based on the concept of business strategy. They published a textbook, Business Policy, Text and Cases in 1965, which became one of the dominant textbooks in the business school. Andrews identified that the strategy development require the evaluation of the opportunities and threats in the business environment and the identification of the possible risk to design the strategic alternatives. A firm should know its strength and weakness before selecting an alternative. That the potential should be harmonized with the opportunity and the sources of the company. Harry Ansoff in 1965, in his book Corporate Strategy, classified the basic SWOT model with different steps that include checklist and technique for setting the goal, budgeting, and operating plan of different levels of the organization. Ansoff matrix was developed by him that compare the strategies for market penetration, product development, market development, and diversification. These four options are the core strategic responses for the internal and external conditions that can be used systematically to prepare the future of the organization. In the 1980s the SWOT analysis was used for the business and marketing plans for the development of small and medium enterprises. TOE's matrix was developed by Heinz Weidrich in 1982 to evaluate the environmental opportunities and threat with that of the strength and weakness of the organization. In 1990, he developed SWOT variables in a systematic manner for the project formulation, regional development, and social marketing of non-governmental organizations. In 1992 Dynamic SWOT Analysis (DSA) was developed by Richard Dieltree for the project management process that include the preparation and implementation of value-driven strategies. It started with raw shock analysis followed by individual and group activities, matrix decision of pulse and threshold issues, reading the dashboard of development, prioritizing short variables for the project management and decision-making. Strategic Factors Analysis Summary (SFAS) Matrix was developed in 1998 by Thomas L. Whelan and J. David Hunger along with External Factor Analysis Summary (EFAS) and Internal Factor Analysis Summary (IFAS) that talk about SWOT analysis and critical evaluation. With the comparative study of IFAS and IFAS, alternative strategies can be developed. In the 1990s, the critical analysis also directed towards the strategic planning through SWOT analysis. Various scholars studied different variants of SWOT analysis that enrich the framework, and one such variant is what SWOT is the underlying planning and software. The weakness is redefined as fault. Some of the scholars are of the opinion that SWOT analysis can be used with other techniques like quality function deployment QFD methodology with balanced scorecard, Kaplan and Norton's balanced scorecard, MC Kinsey's 7S framework, Porter's 5 forces model, Porter's generic strategies, etc. An alternative to SWOT analysis is VRIO valuable, rare, inimitable, and organizational factors and score that identifies the strength, challenges, options and opportunities, responses, and effectiveness analysis and SWOT that identifies the strengths, opportunities, realities, and facts analysis. SWOT analysis is used for strategic management and marketing. The usability and preferability of the characteristics can be identified through this analysis. SWOT analysis gives a roadmap of the internal and external structure from the general to the specific. It gives the opportunity